Hello everyone. Just making sure I am connected. All right. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I had to redo my stream key. I forgot I needed to do that again. All right. Make sure we have the screen up. Hello. Hi Trey. Hi Heather. Sounds great. All right. So if you guys could let me know where you're viewing from, that would be great. I'm actually in Ontario, in Burlington, if any of you are familiar. And let's see here. Yeah, all right. I think I've just about got everything set up. Sorry about that. Hi, Barbie. Hi. Oh, Kathia. Oh my gosh, so many people. South Florida, California, New York, Ohio, DC. Oh my gosh, Murray. Wow. So excited to see you guys. All right. So I know you guys are all wanting to actually see some stuff tonight. So I'm gonna just kind of get into it. So I'm a virtual assistant and I love numbers. Some of you probably know I did a live on analytics as well. So spreadsheets are just kind of my jam. I love them and I love adding a lot of color. So in the comments, I'm actually going to link these spreadsheets so that if you guys are interested in following along with me live, that's an option for you. Of course, you can always come back to these links later and go ahead and work on them on your own time as well. Oh, Trisha, don't worry, I was late, so you're fine. You were right on time. Let's see here. So this is for the recipe cost calculator. And then let me get the link for the cookie class calculator, and I will send that in the comments as well. I also apologize if you guys can hear my keyboard. I have a mechanical keyboard, so it's quite loud when I'm typing. Oh no, they don't. I promise. Although I did steal your guys' colors, at least 2 of them, so please don't sue me. So anyway, to get into it for you guys. So I'm starting on the recipe cost calculator sheet here. And 2 things that I want to really drill down into and have everybody pay attention to. In this box over here, there's revenue and there's profit. Now those are 2 entirely different things, and I know it gets very confusing, but revenue is when a customer pays you and they give you $60, $100, $120, that's your revenue. Your profit is much less than that. Your profit is actually your revenue minus your costs. So this cost calculator is great because it goes through and it tells you exactly how much it costs you to produce a cookie, and you can go through and do all of that. So let's get started. Mine's already filled in. So this is my recipe. Feel free to steal it if you would like to, but these are not cookies that don't spread at all. I do have a little bit of spread, but I just love how they taste, so I deal with it. So when you're using the sheet, oh, and I should say this before I get too far into it, it's view only on the link. So when you actually want to go ahead and use it, you'll have to go up to File here and then click Make a Copy. And then you can go through and name it whatever you want to. So when I'm doing this specifically for myself, I will cost out and I'll make my copy say chocolate chip cookie recipe or sugar cookie recipe, DIY kit, cookie class, just whatever. So I have a sheet for every product. And that's something that you can do as well, because not every product has the same packaging and things like that. So you'll want to definitely make a copy to go ahead and use the sheet. Nicole. Okay, Nicole, so to edit it, you'll just want to make a copy and then you'll be able to edit it on your own. Otherwise, if I give you edit permissions, then every time I make a change to the sheet, then it would reflect on your cloud version, and that's not what not what you're gonna want. So you'll definitely want to make a copy, and I will definitely be making a video, and I'll post that in the group and onto YouTube after the live of how to do a lot of these things in specific detail. So if you missed something here, you can always rewind, rewatch the live, or watch that video when I release it. But yeah, so I'll get started here. So in this overview box, this is usually where I put how much of the product. Oh, forcing you to ask for access. Oh no. Okay, let me take a look real quick here, guys. Sorry. Let's see here. Anyone with the link? Yes. Okay. If you try, oh, the class one. Okay, let me take a look. Oh, yep. There we go. No, that's okay. There we go. Hopefully that one will work if you want to check for me real quick. You're welcome. Sorry guys. My bad on that one. I thought I had the right permissions set. So hopefully everybody will be able to access it. If you don't, let me know and I will check again. So yeah, so in this box here, I usually just type in what I'm doing, how much product is in it, etc. like that. Then into the product details. So this sheet is already filled out. This is for my custom sugar cookies. So I have 12 cookies that I put in a box because it's for a dozen. If you do a baker's dozen, you'd put 13 here. Hi Wendy from Houston, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. And then this box here is really important, and this is how much profit percentage you actually want to have on your product. So on custom cookies, for me, it's a much lower percentage. On my DIY kits and on my cookie classes, it's a much higher percentage because I'm not spending as much time to actually decorate the cookies, and that's where most of the cost comes in. So I can bump up my profit and still, you know, do pretty well. And I would suggest not going under 5% profit for any item, just as a general rule of thumb. A lot of things are in different industries are considered to be a good profit range if you're in 20 to 40%. With baked goods, it's generally not that high for custom items. It could be if you want it to be. It can be anything you want, but just as a general industry standard, it's just usually somewhere between 5 and 15% for custom items in my research. If you guys have other numbers and would love to share those with me, I would love to hear. So yeah, so then you go through the sheet here, and there are some instructions on the side as well. But all of these blue boxes, you can fill these out and use them. And I do everything in grams for two reasons. One, because when I'm working at scale and going to like a commercial kitchen, I don't want to sit there and measure out 3 cups of flour at a time. I just want to measure out a ton of flour at once. So it's a lot easier just to scale and use the scale, and calculate in grams. And down here to the side here, I have a conversion cheat sheet. And again, these blue cells, you can edit to be however much is in your particular recipe. So if you were doing 2 cups of butter, you just put 2 in here, and then it would tell you the measurement in grams. So you don't have to weigh them independently or go search Google for every answer. It's right in the sheet that you can do that. So that's an option as well. But the other reason I use grams is because all of my packaging comes in like kilograms and grams and things like that. Canadian, I think it's similar for the US. I don't know that flour measures were ever measured in cups. Maybe they are. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But yeah, so I do everything in grams. And so you'll go through and you'll just edit how much is in your recipe amount. You can use the conversion sheet for that. How much you paid for it. Please don't freak out. Our butter is expensive here. I see posts all the time. You guys get butter at Aldi's for like $2, and I can't believe it. And then the package weight is just how much that brick or the sticks of butter that you buy are in total. And then all of these things are calculated onto this second sheet that is locked. You don't really have to worry too much about that. Oh, I should have changed the name here. Oops, wrong title. But all of those calculations are in the in the second sheet, and you don't have to edit anything for that. Oh, Jess. Yeah, so this will really help answer because, you know, it's really tempting to ask other people, how much would you charge for this? And you might be shocked at how much I would charge for something, but I pay twice as much for butter, or, you know, the minimum wage rate might be a little different in different areas and things like that. And if you want to be paid above minimum wage and somebody else is being paid minimum wage, you know, those all are factors that come into play. I also have to pay customs fees when I order boxes in bulk because, you know, I get them from the US. So that's something I have to consider in my packaging costs as well. So it really differs per person, but this really allows you to tweak it for yourself. And knowing exactly what your costs are allows you to price your goods with confidence because you know that you're covering your costs, you know that you're making a profit, and you can move forward from that. So that's really, really great. And then I've left in this sheet, I haven't done it on the cookie class one. For those of you that make cakes and cupcakes, that is something I will add on as well. So that you can add additional ingredients, because you may have all of these plus vegetable oil or, you know, other different items, cocoa powder, stuff like that, for different recipes. So you could just add like an ingredient here. So if you wanted cocoa powder, you just type that in. However much cocoa powder you're using, that's not on my conversion cheat sheet, but I could definitely add that if that's something you guys are interested in. Just let me know. And yeah, so then you would just fill in the rest of the boxes, and that would update on the second page. Again, you wouldn't have to do anything for that. And then the packaging for individual cookies. So that would be like heat sealing each individual bag, putting a sticker on each bag if you do that, or putting ribbon on each and every bag. So if you do those things, you can put that under the individual cookie packaging. And then the packaging per product is, okay, they all go in one box. They all get one sticker on that box. They all have one bow on that box. A business card in that box. So those are all things that if you only do one business card per product, then you would put it in the per product packaging rather than saying, accounting for a business card per cookie. Yeah, so Lydia, the second page, you don't change the values there. You just change them on the first page. So if I change here, let me scroll up. So if I change the butter here to $4.54, then everything is going to change here for the revenue, the cost, the profit, and the price to charge for the product. So those are all just going to happen automatically. So you don't have to try and do that on the back end yourself. And Carol, can we add additional lines beyond the lines already there? Technically, yes. But the way that I have this set up is that it's summing based off of only these lines here. So if you had an amount in a recipe that took like 15 items, let's say 15 ingredient items, then it would need to be a little bit longer. And that's definitely something I can do if you guys are interested in. That's a pretty quick adjustment for me to make, and I can update the sheet and send you the link for that again. But I did this in mind with sugar cookies and then just added some additional ingredient lines, but there's only 4 additional lines, but I can definitely add more. And then the labor hours here, this is really important because this is where most of your costs come in. And so if it takes you a half an hour to plan out how to make your cookies, then you would put 0.5 here. If it takes you an hour to prep and bake them, then that's 1 hour. Decorating, if it takes you 2 hours, and so on and so forth. And then if there's other activities that you needed to do, you can do that and add those on here. Carol, some of your recipes are longer. Yeah, Carol, if you could tell me what your longest recipe is, like ingredient-wise, I would be happy to adjust the sheet so that it sums everything properly for you. Just let me know in the comments or send me a DM. That would be great. And I can make that adjustment. And then this category here, if you guys have listened to the podcast, you may have heard about the oopsie budget. And so if you have to issue a refund, which we're all human, refunds happen, from time to time, you can add an oopsie budget per cookie. So in this calculation, I've added in 25 cents per cookie as what I would put towards my oopsie fund. So then once you've got all of the blue boxes filled out that are relevant to you, which I should add as well. I don't use granulated sugar for my recipe, so I just leave all of these blank. Don't put in zeros in there, or Excel and Google Sheets are funny about that, and it won't actually sum properly. So just leave them blank if you don't use it. Don't put zeros. Just as a side note. Elena. That's great that you've been guessing pretty close to what you needed. Yeah, there are a lot of just items off of the side that sometimes just kind of slip mind, when you're in the throes of decorating and you're getting everything done. And yeah, so it can be difficult to think of everything. So it's really nice to have a sheet because then you can even see how the prices change over time as well. Andrea. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. And Trisha, let me see here. So just to clarify, we just copy the first page for each recipe we have. Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you have like DIY kits, you can do one sheet just dedicated completely to DIY kits. You can do one sheet that's completely for, custom sugar cookies, a sheet. I have a specific one for classes just because it's quite a bit different with having a venue and things like that. So that sheet is a little bit different, and I put the link in the comments. It's probably scrolled by, but I'll definitely make a post in the event as well with a link to both sheets for you guys so they're easier to find. But yeah, so then once you've added everything into the blue cells, then all of these numbers will change, and it'll kind of show you what you need to have for your prices. I'm just gonna change my butter back to its proper amount. So the calculator has told me now that I need to charge, this is probably the most important box on the whole sheet, but it's saying that I need to charge $63.37 to cover my costs, pay myself, and get a profit that I'm asking for out of my product here of 8%. So most times I wouldn't quote a customer with $63.37. I would just say $65, and put that additional money towards either my oopsie budget, paying myself, or additional profit for my business, whatever category I wanted to put that in, and that's totally up to you. It's personal choice. Oh, I'm so glad that this is gonna be helpful for you, Trisha, and thank you, Carol, for the compliment. 15 ingredients seems to be your longest recipe. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just adjust these to have 15 slots then, Carol. And when I do that tonight, you can just go back to the links because my copy is like the master copy, and it will have those in there for you with the additional space. So you won't have to do anything special for that. It'll just be there. And yeah, so I like having on my sheets personally, I like having a top section where I can just kind of see a brief overview of everything. So that's why I've got like the revenue and everything up here and the price to charge for the product, because these are ultimately the numbers that I care about. But then anytime I'm going to be, updating prices, like if I notice if I've gone to the grocery store and the price of butter is consistently, I can't find it on sale for $5 anymore, I can only get it for $6, then I would come in, I would change my package price to $6 for my butter and, adjust accordingly. And that way I know exactly how much money to put in each account. So I keep, I pay myself in one account. I have another account that has like my oopsie budget, my savings, and things like that. So it's just a great way for me to keep things in on paper because I can't keep it all in my head. I tried forever and ever to write everything down on sticky notes, and then I'd lose them and be like, oh my gosh, what was it? So it's been really helpful for me to use a sheet, because then I can just go ahead and change it. So after I've done the legwork of just putting in the recipe, it's just easy to make the tweaks. All the stuff. Oh, Barbie. Yeah, it does take a while to cost it, but it's so beneficial for your business, because then you know exactly how much things cost you, how much you're making, what are your best sellers, what makes you the most profit. So if you realize that, like, hey, I'm not making as much on you know, selling 2 cookies in a package and I want to have a better profit margin, I really want to market my DIY kits more than I want to market my kits of 2 or things like that. So it can help you really identify where you want to put your marketing budget when you know what are your big, in business school they called it cash cows, that get you a lot of profit that people really enjoy. So yeah, that's the recipe cost calculator. So I'm just gonna pop over to the cookie class cost calculator and just kind of explain a few of the differences here for that one. You're welcome, Trey. Oh, Mallory. Yeah, I love doing things on pen and paper, to be honest. It's kind of therapeutic for me, but it's so easy to lose, and if I want to adjust something, then it's really hard, and then I have a bunch of scratches, scribbles and stuff. And yeah, so the spreadsheet's really, really helpful. So, you're welcome, Charlene. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we all need cash cows. They're super important. But yeah, so for this cookie class cost calculator, the big difference here is in the class details. So you need to, again, with the blue boxes, fill in how many numbers of students are in your class. What's the price per cookie class, you know, per student? How many cookies are they getting? How many bags of icing are you giving out? Like, are you using 3, 4, 5 colors? And how many ounces of icing per bag? And this is another thing with knowing ounces and grams is really helpful because you can weigh out your bags and just keep it really consistent. Is there a way to list all of your prices out ingredients and pull it into each recipe as you add it? Okay, so technically, yes, you could do something like that with sheets. However, I am in the process. I'm not a very good coder. I'm kind of intermediate level of coding. But it is a goal of mine at some point to go from using sheets to using an actual app that just calculates everything kind of plug and play for me and acts more like a database. It's probably a bunch of gibberish, so I'll stop there. But that is a goal of mine, is eventually to get to a point where I just do everything in an app. Now, I will say, if you are making a copy of like your sugar cookie customs, DIY kits, cookie classes and all that stuff, I would write out your recipe one time and then just copy and paste those cells into, like, if it's for the cookie class cost calculator, try saying that 5 times fast, just, you know, copy it over. But on the recipe costing, what I would do is just fill it in and then just copy the entire sheet once you've filled it out with your recipe. That way you don't have to fill it out every single time for the exact same recipe. So if you use your sugar cookie recipe in 4 items, 4 products, then just put it in one time for one product, then copy your sheet with your recipe rather than copying my sheet with my recipe and having to put your recipe in all over again. So that could save you some time as well to do that instead. Try to do in Google Sheets in the internet. Yeah, so Google Sheets and Excel do have their differences. You can pretty much ghetto rig just about anything in Google Sheets that you can do in Excel. It's just a lot more complicated and not just completely straightforward. So again, the nice thing about Google Sheets is that it's cloud-based. You can save Excel sheets to the cloud, but I love having cloud-based things because I can access it on my phone or, you know, my tablet or my PC. Yeah, because you can have the sheets. Sheet linking does exist in Google Sheets as well, but it's just a little more complicated. You have to like use the URL and things like that. You can't just identify the sheet like you can in Excel. It's just a little more complicated. But I can definitely go into more detail with you on that if that's something you're interested in at some point. But yeah, so on my cookie class cost calculator, I didn't actually put in a profit amount that I wanted to see. I actually just calculated my ROI, which most times will come out to be the same here, because you want to know how much ROI is, how much for every dollar you're spending are you making in actual money for yourself. So that's what I wanted to check here. So instead of saying, oh, I want to have a profit of 20% for my classes, I just wanted to see like how I adjust my ticket prices, how that would change. So as you can see here, it's a much bigger margin because things like classes and DIY kits, they don't use as much of your time, but they also allow you to scale further. And so when you get to scaling, you can really increase the amount of profits that you're making, which can be really beneficial for you if that's something that you're interested in. But most of the sheet is the same. Now on this one, I have not added the additional slots for the recipe, so I can definitely do that. And if you guys come back to the sheet at a later time, like tomorrow or later tonight, there will be additional slots on there that you can add in additional ingredients and stuff. And then the packaging, of course, because you need to know your packaging, your ingredients, and then finally, again, your time. You need to pay yourself. And I cannot say that enough, how important it is to pay yourself. And then your venue costs. This can be another big cost depending on where you're hosting your cookie classes and things like that. So for me, I have access to a room that's only cost me $25, but there are places that I've looked at that I would love to go, but they're a little more expensive. But if I get to a point where I can teach classes for larger audiences, that they would make sense for me. I'd still get a very nice ROI or profit for having done it. And again, I've got the conversion cheat sheet here that you can use as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much those sheets. And I hope it helps you guys out and that it'll be something that hopefully reduces some time in your costing. But I got some extra time here, so if anybody has any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them. I've tried to follow the chat and I apologize if I've missed anything. But if you just want to type in again a question, if I missed it, I'd be happy to answer that for you now. Oh, you guys are so sweet. You are so welcome. Thank you for coming and spending time with me, talking about numbers. I know it's not the most exciting thing. Alicia, I would like to know if I made a master sheet of ingredients and cost weight info, then link those items in the recipes. If the recipes were updated automatically each time I change my ingredient cost, it would save me time. Okay, Yeah, so that it does sound like something that you could do, because if you have, I made this with the intent of sharing it, so I didn't have that really set up, but what it would be like is like this conversion cheat sheet down here. And so what you would need to do is just put in your recipe, like the value amounts, and then you would just be changing your package price. So the sheets pretty much do that when, you know, that's coming in. But if you wanted to have like an additional sheet that if you type in butter 1 cup, that it pulls a certain value, that is something that you could do as well. I don't know exactly which method you're talking about, but those are 2 different options from reading that question that come to mind for me right now. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you, Trisha. Wendy. Oh, yeah, you could access the spreadsheets on your phone, but it's a little bit odd sometimes. I much prefer using my PC to actually work on sheets rather than my phone. I find I have fat fingers, so it's a little bit harder for me on the phone. And thank you so much for the compliment. Elena, no more guessing. That's great. Oh my gosh. Yes, paying yourself is so important. And I know the cost, you know, seems like a lot for people, but it is really, you know, what we offer people is really special. It's custom, and they can't go to Walmart and get it, you know. So it's really important to pay yourself so that you don't burn out and that you still want to do it and keep making people really happy with what you have to offer them. Yeah, that would be hard with the icing in hand. No doubt, Wendy. At least not sure of Google Sheets, but I have mine set up like that on Excel. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because if, especially when you're using it for yourself, your recipe is probably not going to change a whole lot if you've got something that works for you. It's like your signature recipe. Then it's really great to have something like that. I just, like I said, made this with the intention of sharing it with people, so it's a little more vague and has to be a little bit filled in with a little bit of legwork. Charlene, oh no. It's okay. When the first order of cookies that I sold them for $1.75 a cookie. And it definitely took me more than 2 hours to decorate, so it's, you know, I think we've all been there, and it's okay. And, you know, going forward, you'll know where you're at and what ballpark you're in, so it's all good. Laura, can you share again where and how to download the sheets? Yes, so I will post a link to the sheets in the event, just so they're a lot easier to find, so you guys don't have to search through all the comments again, because one link I had wasn't actually correct. It had limited access, so I will put the full access links into the event as a post so you guys can find it easy. Mary Kerr, I make drop cookies too, so I have a lot of recipes. Yeah, that I feel bad for whoever has to actually cost out the Cheesecake Factory menu because it's massive. I can't imagine. So if you needed a reason to keep your menu items small, costing them might be encouraging to do. How do you calculate icing per cookie, or did I miss that? Okay, so icing per cookie, I calculated on a bit of the high end because I make a variety of sizes of cookies. Most of mine are about 3 inches to 3.5, but sometimes I occasionally do 4.5 inch cookies and do larger ones. So I believe, I'd have to double check, but I believe that I calculated roughly about 2 ounces of icing per cookie, which is overkill, but it's such a small amount in terms of cost that it's almost negligible. So I'm not too worried about the inaccuracy of the icing not being perfect for each individual design, because some designs will just be kind of like a flood layer with very minimal detail on top, and then others will be like a lot of layers. So I figure in the grand scheme of things, it'll end up being about a wash. So I would have to double check on that, but I will get back to you with an exact number, Barbie, just so you know. And let's see here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to scroll through the questions. Oh, Elena, that's great news. Someone got the links. That's great. Yes, Linda, there will be a link for this. Everybody can view it later. And I'm also going to make a YouTube video that will be a lot more condensed and just quick, and it'll go over pretty much all the points I've gone over in this live. So if you ever need a refresher, you won't have to watch all 40 minutes, 60 minutes of me talking, and just kind of can scroll around to whatever is relevant for you. Oh, great, Barbie. That's awesome. But yeah, so if you guys have any more questions, you can always message me in the group. You can also message me on Instagram and things like that. Oh, let's see here. Unrelated, but what program did you use to be able to share screen and camera? I need that for my live next week. Okay, Andrea, I can definitely message you. I was using OBS, and so Facebook Live has a link, a stream key that you can put into that, but I can message you some details for that, because that would be a little bit long to explain probably right now. Yeah, Vicky, so the links are up in the comments, but I'm going to post links to the sheets in the event section for this event, so you'll be able to access them without having to search and scroll through all of the links. So those will be in the event section, so you can have that. Nancy, what is your business name on Facebook or Instagram? Oh my gosh. So for cookies, I have Cozy Cookie Co., but I just opened social accounts for my virtual assistant business. I've been doing that for years, and I thought, well, I should probably do some marketing of that because I've learned so much in this group from all the twins and wonderful people here, so that's been great. And my Instagram is Mara Buckle, but I don't really have anything there yet, but working on it. You'll be hearing more from me soon. So yeah, if there's no other questions, guys, then I'll go ahead and hop off of here. It was so fun to chat with you guys and just get to share a little bit of what I've done, and I hope that it helps you guys. Where can you send me? Spreadsheet is worth gold. Oh my gosh. Well, if you're in the States, you don't want to pay customs, so don't worry about sending me anything to Canada. But thank you. Oh, maybe I should do a live on hosting lives to teach everybody how to use OBS. Maybe Grant could teach it too. I know he loves OBS as well. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. All right, bye everyone. Like I said, if you have any comments or anything, questions, just message me in the group or online on Instagram. Either one is totally fine. I'm always available. Bye.